Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Access Live. I am John Samuel, and today I'm super excited to have my friend and colleague, Kim Casey. Hi,
Hey,
Kim.
John. Thank you for having me. It's
No,
exciting.
yes, this is a segment we want to call Kicking It with Kim. I want you to come on as a regular guest. Is that cool?
Yeah, we'll be here.
No, because I think there's a lot that we can talk about. You and I have been working together for several years, and then officially just over the last year. But I think you've had a really unique perspective of working with somebody with a visual impairment because I wasn't the very first person you did work with, right?
That's
Who
right.
who were you working with before?
So, actually, many ages ago, 7 years ago, I I started working with Mike May. So I think you had him on the show a couple weeks ago,
Yeah,
and he was
go
the
check out
first,
that show.
actually, first blind person I had ever met, and he didn't really warn me or anything. So we had our interview. I thought I was just interviewing kind of for a mail clerk type job. And I met him at the restaurant, and he had his guide dog, and it was really awkward. I didn't know what to do. And it was the start of like a 20-year stint with wonderful, learning and everything else. But it was amazing. So the challenge at that time with his company called Sendero was to, make maps accessible.
Yeah.
So, at that time, 20 years ago, we were just getting electronic maps. GPS was just in its inception. Um, and actually, I don't know if anyone out there, has followed GPS over the years, but when I first started, it actually still had selective availability. So it was like the
What
government
does
was
that mean?
actively scrambling the signals. So
Oh,
right
really?
now, when you use GPS on your phone, your signal's giving you like even up to like 3 feet accuracy. Well, when we first started, we were lucky to get 100 feet accuracy, and they were happy to have it. You know what I mean? Because it was like you go from zero to nothing, and if you're on the same block and it's actually got you on the right block, you're having a great day. So that's how we started. But it really opened up doors because you've got your print maps that had been converted to electronic, and there was just such a large amount of data. And so Mike's job and the Sendero, the whole company, was to translate that mass amount of data into something that was usable for people with disabilities and visual disabilities. So maps, are a very visual medium.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, so
No,
we had
thank
a
you
we had
for
a
all
lot of
that.
fun doing that.
No, I appreciate all that work that, I know a lot of people who are blind, they know Mike May, they know Sendero Group, and I know, thanks for all that work that y'all did to
Yeah,
kind of
well,
to
I
make it.
was mostly behind the scenes helping, the funds flow. But it was hard not to get completely involved. And by the end of it, I was in, the development cycles and making sure and catching bugs and saying, hey, this isn't usable. And that's something, the usability of products. So you can have something that's totally accessible. We could have just given a list of all of the streets that were on the map, and that would have been technically accessible. So, John, do you want to talk a little bit about usability and
Yeah,
how
yeah,
that's
jump into that.
important?
Talk
Yeah.
about the difference between accessible and usable and
Yeah.
why it's
So, like
important.
I said, with the maps, we could have just provided a list of streets that were, and then that would have been technically accessible. But for any person who's just getting used to maps, or even somebody who's interested in maps, and Mike has always been interested in maps, and just having a list of streets is not going to help you get from point A to point B, and it's not going to help you build that mental map that you need to actually use that data.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge with all this digital information that we have these days, is that there's a ton of information out there, but we have to make it so that it's consumable, so that people can actually process it and get information from it. And that was the challenge with the maps. I remember one of the first iterations we had, we only had points of interest. We couldn't load the street data because it was just too much for the computers at that time. And let me tell you, we were carrying around backpacks full of computers and computer gear and speakers, and just to get this thing to work. We were
Yeah.
very cobbled together. But so it was just points of interest. But of course, then the points of interest database, it was too much. So you were sitting on a street corner, and screen meters, we all know they like to talk, right? So
Yeah.
the screen meter would just go on and on and on. Well, then the person's like, I don't even know where to go. I've just heard 16 different points of interest. I don't know, what. So
Mm.
there's that, you got to filter the information and make it relevant to the person at that time. And then another challenge we had was when we did get the street data was making that street data consumable. So, as a blind person, this is my experience listening as a sighted person, but for in general, a blind person walks up to an intersection, and it would be helpful for them to know the orientation of the intersection. So we had the raw street data, so we could tell you what streets we're crossing, but we couldn't tell you at what angle. And of course, if you've been in any big city, the intersections aren't always 90 degrees, or they might not always have four outputs. So, as you come up to an intersection, it's very helpful to know it's a three-way intersection, and at 45 degrees, it's this street, and at 75 degrees, it's this street. So we actually, our programmer, some of you out there might know Charles Lapierre. He actually created his own database, which would tell people as they approached an intersection, what the intersection layout would look like. And so it's just these little things, this creative thinking that goes into products. So you've got a ton of information, and sometimes you have to be creative on how to present it so that people can actually use it.
Yeah. So when you guys were building this out, did y'all, include people with, like, other than Mike, did you use anyone else who were blind?
Absolutely. Most of our team was always people with visual impairments, or we had, of course, because it was a fun topic. Everybody wanted to get out and be able to navigate independently and have access to maps. So, finding beta testers and people who were just falling over themselves to test and help us out and give us great suggestions. We had, we even went to the point of organizing trips. We called them Wayfun, and we'd go to a city and they'd all get their maps and they'd get to explore. And the sighted people that were lucky enough to get to come along were not allowed to help navigate. And so, it's funny, over all the years, Mike May was always my co-pilot. We would have missed most meetings. We would have spent hours and hours turning around and being lost if Mike hadn't have been the one at the map saying, no, don't turn around. Cause I always wanted to turn around and do something else. Cause it was always, I think we're lost, Mike. I think we passed it. And he'd always, no, just keep going. It's up here. Okay. I'm going to trust you this time. And then it came to the point where I was like, I can't travel without him. I need his maps. I need Mike to be co-piloting here. So
that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It was always at the everything had to be. You have to have somebody who's actually using the product give feedback on it. And I think that's really where you get usability.
Yeah. You and I were recently on a UX Y'all conference, right? Was it last week?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Yeah. So last week we were at this conference that's design. Its whole thing is about user experience, and this whole conference. And we were speaking on a panel with our friends over at Design Hammer, and we had practice getting on. And I guess what we didn't realize was that that whole experience wasn't necessarily it was accessible but wasn't usable. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. It's funny because before we started, I did a quick little scan and I thought, well, let's see, how many errors they have, the automated test,
What was the platform? We were using a platform called Hopin, right?
Hopin, yes.
Hopin,
yes. So I tested the page and it came up with only 10 errors. And so that's kind of the thing with accessibility, with the automated testing, is that it can miss a lot,
Yep.
Certainly it misses the usability issues, but it can miss a lot of actual real issues. So, we thought, we'll be fine. And, John had practiced and everything, and we were all ready to go, and John was ready to go. And the day came and the time came, and John, maybe you can share your experience.
Yeah. Cause I was speaking at another event. I was speaking at Triangle Leadership, in person, which was cool. And I had to cut it off early. I was like, I got to go to this other presentation. They got me in this office. And so I got off 30 minutes early, and I was getting on, ready to go. And I Zoom, we Teams called, right? Or
that's right.
Our Teams or on Zoom. And
we had our backup plan just in case. We didn't think we'd need it.
Exactly. So you'd watch me go in, log in. And then I think we were trying to log in. We got to the point. I followed all the instructions that we had done during the test run. And then it was, I tried to join the meeting. I kept on clicking the meeting, join the meeting. And then I was gave you access, and you couldn't click join the meeting.
Yeah.
And so And then I think the event organizer said, we got to go. Like, we got to start. And y'all started. Right. I
Yeah,
think that's
you were getting to listen to it, but we couldn't hear him. We couldn't see you. So you might as well, nobody knew you were there.
exactly. I could hear everything. So the problem is now I'm hearing the conference while people are all talking and my screen reader's trying to talk.
And
So
talking about you.
they're talking about me. I got the screen reader talking to me. I'm like, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden I get a call from a guy named Chad. I don't know who the hell Chad is. Chad is, it's like, oh, dude, I can help you. I was like, I don't know who you are. This is like, now accessibility is becoming a security issue because Chad is calling me to say, I'll help you get on.
Exactly.
And then, we're trying. He can't see what's going on. So we had to get off, I get off, hop in, we restart, we get on to, he didn't even know how to share a screen. He didn't know how to like request a screen share or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Again, here's the blind leading the blind, essentially.
It happens. It happens. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't.
Exactly. So I had to help Chad get onto the, share, teach how he can accept my share screen and take control. And what we realized was that what was happening was like when I clicked join the meeting, a pop-up was popping up that wasn't being read by my screen reader. And it was saying, join the meeting with your video on and mic on. And it says, yes, or okay, right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't showing up.
It wasn't, no, because I was on there and I couldn't see the thing to click. You had to click allow. And I did it for myself, but I couldn't find it for you. So it was the strangest thing.
Exactly, right? So with the screen reader and that, and again, those are that's a major blocker, right? So when we do those automated tests, it's literally saying, oh yeah, this is accessible. And then I'm sure all the developers are hopping or patting themselves on the back saying, oh yeah, great job. We got an accessible product.
Because 10 is actually a really low number for automated tests. It's a great number. They should be patting themselves on the back.
Yeah, exactly. But then that gets back to it where was I the first screen reader user who couldn't get on to a hop-in like panelist speaker? That's then when it's realizing, hey, are we missing out on a lot of people because your experience just isn't usable?
Exactly.
I there have been conferences, I'll be honest, like diversity and inclusion conferences where I can't literally get on, and like it's me trying to spend 20-30 minutes to figure out how to get on to the conference, to the point where I'm like, screw it, I'm done. I'm not going to go. Right.
That's funny. You bring up a funny point because, you have to have patience. And one of the other panelists said that, he'll spend, 20 minutes trying to figure something out before he gives up and tries. And it's like, well, he's certainly not your standard user here, because most people will give you about 30 seconds and then they're off. They don't want to hear anything else.
Well, that's what I think when we think about sighted user experience, that's what they're trying to solve, right? You have like a sighted individual, they know that like a potential consumer, like my dollars are at stake. If I can't use it in 30 seconds, I'm out.
That's right. That's right.
So when you start to think about it from a dollars and cents perspective, yeah, I mean, I was out. There's been events where I just didn't go, and will I go back on if I see those type of
right? If it's hopping again, do you want to do it? Yeah. Is it worth it? I mean,
yeah.
Because then you risk looking bad. Like maybe you forgot you were supposed to be there and you couldn't show up and you didn't bother, and
Exactly, right. And I think that was the unique thing about this conference was where, that people are talking to me like, oh, I had to reschedule a lot of my meetings because
that's right.
They wanted me to be there. And here I can't even be there for this presentation. And it took 27 minutes. 27 minutes.
That's right.
It was already for a 1-hour session. And so, I eventually got on, and hopefully event organizers, they see that, and then, platform providers and just anybody, all, these like internal applications are thinking about the accessibility, not just a checkbox, but actually making it usable.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, and I think the key to that is actually involving people with disabilities and people with visual impairments, people with mobility impairments, everything, so that you get the whole picture, so that for sure that it can be used.
Yeah. And so, right now, we're wrapping up soon. So like, what are some of the key takeaways? What are some ways that you think, because, you're the director, you head up our accessibility practice. So what are some key takeaway that you think that, clients and, that you've seen from our own clients or, listeners here with their own companies and organizations, what can they do to think about from a user, like a usable experience versus just an accessible experience? What can they do?
I think the main thing is just involving people that use this technology on a daily basis, and really framing it differently. I think the whole creative thinking, there's a lot of people that are just, oh, that seems hard. I don't want to do that. How in the world am I going to be able to display all of this map information into something that, a screen reader can handle? There's a way. There's always a way. You can always figure it out. You just have to be a little bit creative. And I think with a lot of our clients, we have a back and forth, and we'll talk to them and say, they'll say, well, what about this? And I'll say, well, that actually, introduces another issue. So let's think about, well, let's try it this way. And so we just had a call recently with a client. They were trying to work on their flyout menus, the header menus, where they had a bunch of options for you to select to go through the website. And it wasn't keyboard accessible. Well, we've been able to now, they've got all sorts of cool things. So now you can choose to expand it, collapse it. There's a little secret close button on the menu that you can use to close the menu if you don't feel like going through the entire thing. And so it's creative thinking. It's involving people who actually will use your site like that. And, just being willing to be flexible.
Cool. Thank you for that, Kim. And yeah, you're okay with joining us on a regular basis and sharing some tidbits on accessibility.
This has been fun. Thank you, John.
Yeah, for sure. And, I also kind of talk about users. Right now, we have, if you remember, Drip My Cane 2.0 going on, and we want people to go out and vote. And so you can check out the site. The link is available in the comments. Sharon will be putting it out there. But please go out and vote. I can't see. I need your help. So please help me.
There's all sorts of great designs here. We've got, everything from really colorful to black and white to, different patterns, a lot of great designs here that people have submitted. So vote for your favorite one.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for all the designers. And again, E1, who is our partner and sponsor, the E1 Watch, they are part of this as well. And also our friends over at Liberty Marketing Solutions, the label guy, my boy Steve over there. Go talk to him. But again, we're so thankful for all the partners who've been helping to make this possible. But that includes you. So please go out and vote. And Kim, did you go vote? Go vote. Go vote.
I do need to go vote. I thought I wasn't allowed. I'll go vote. I'll go vote and I'll make sure it's accessible.
Go vote for us. Go help check it out. So
I'll do it.
Sharon, I want you to go vote too. So Sharon's in the background, but
she is. She's there somewhere.
Yeah, she's back. She's out there somewhere. She's got to go vote too. But again, thank everyone for joining in. And again, you can check out old episodes. I think we have them on YouTube, so check out our YouTube channel. And again, stay tuned next week when we're back on Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. And Kim, thank you so much for kicking it with us. And
it's been a pleasure. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.